For today's session, we have Mr. Mayank as our guest. And Mr. Mayank is the CEO and founder of Gud Gum. So we must have heard about Gud Gum. They have recently, participated in the Shark Tank, and they've been live on TV as well. So Gud Gum is a startup creating India's first plastic-free, all-natural chewing gum. You heard it right. So they are the first company to launch the plastic-free chewing gum, and I'm very excited to learn about the processed food and the chewing gum. And as you know, processed food is an everyday thing. We eat a lot of processed food and drinks and whatnot when we go out or when we have a party at a home. But we don't really think about its good or the bad benefits about it, right? And the pros and cons of it. So Mr. Mayank have been a food tech consultant for a few years, and he has a lot of insights about how processed food works and how are chewing gums made. And he's also the founder of the first plastic-free chewing gum in India. And we are very excited for this session. I'm sure, kids, you will also learn a lot of interesting facts about processed food today. So we take privilege in welcome you, sir, for the session.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's my pleasure to be hosted here, and I'm happy to talk to the youth of the country. Like I always like interacting with kids, because if we can educate them with the right things at the right time, they grow up to eat healthier, choose better products. So it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Great, sir. We are very excited for today's talk, and I'm sure kids here also are very excited. So last week we had a very engaging session, and kids were asking a lot of questions. I'm sure today also you would be bombarded with a lot of questions, but I'm sure you will actually help them and inspire them towards becoming the future innovators. So, firstly, first of all, I mean, food science and food tech, right? It is not an everyday subject that regular people would choose. So how did you develop an interest towards this space, especially food science and food tech? And how did all this start, Mr. Mike? If you can share us, it will be helpful.
Yeah, so since childhood, I was very intrigued about how food remains good in a packet. When it's the age to actually be eating Maggie noodles, I wasn't eating Maggie noodles, but I was asking questions to my father or my parents as to how is Maggie made, or why doesn't Maggie go bad for a year? Why all the Maggie noodles have the same shape and size and structure, etc. So I always had the drive to, read, or I was curious about how food was processed. And when it was time to select a career option, I actually wanted to be a doctor, because I was always a curious plus problem-solving kind of a person. And I think being a doctor is the biggest problem-solving job. And being able to cure patients is very, very it's also very rewarding. So I did write my entrance exams to get into a medical college, but then I did not get a good rank to be able to get a good seat in Bangalore itself. And then my second love was always food. So I looked at chemical engineering as an option, because chemical engineering, so food processing yes, it is not a very commonly taken subject, because it is an amalgamation of engineering, right? There is chemical engineering, there is process engineering, there is industrial engineering. All of that is culminated into a particular industry, right? So I looked at chemical engineering, and there was a course on food technology in that. So I thought it would be great to first do an overall course about chemical engineering, see what is the different scopes available to do after studying this course, and then went on to do my master's in food science from the University of Nottingham in the UK. And post that, I worked in food startups to gain some experience. So it was more like an improvising journey, not like when I was in seventh grade that I wanted to be a food engineer. Over time, my interests keep changing, and I chose the path at the right time.
Right, right. That's very interesting. See, as you went along, you made decisions, and here you are, talking with us and inspiring future kids. I'm sure it was a wonderful journey that you've had. So to take this further, so can you explain what is processed food, and when did we start this, and what made us to go for processed foods? Some history behind it that would be really insightful, Mr. Mayank.
Got it, sure. So do you have the slides that I shared with you? So if you can pull that out so that it will
Sure,
be
sure.
more.
I'll pull it up. You can, in meantime, have a word with the students. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So essentially, processed food, for considering that majority of the audience today is kids, I would say processed food is more like a Lego creation. In order to make your Lego creation, you use, Lego blocks of different shapes, sizes, colors to make a creation, right? So, for example, if you had a potato, you might not like eating the potato directly, but when you peel the potato, chop it in a particular angle, and then put it into a fryer, you get chips. And chips is something you like. So, in order to create processed food, you got to take the initial food through a journey, basically a finishing journey, and then make a product which is going to be tastier, right? So, for example, milk from a cow would go bad within 4 hours, right? And it does not taste it does not taste good after 4 hours. But if you were to freeze it, if you were to add sugar into it, if you were to add cocoa powder into it, you can make chocolate ice cream out of it, right? So just consider processed food to be a Lego creation where, say, you're taking pieces of different shape, size, colors to create something more appealing, more tasty, and more long lasting. So I mean, that's exactly what I just mentioned over here, right? So processed food are food that have been changed from their natural state in some way by adding ingredients, cooking, freezing, and drying. They're everywhere from our cereals to cookies to canned soup.
Right. So, I mean, this is how we got the popular foods, and processed foods are becoming a norm right now. So, can you take some examples and take us through some popular processed foods and how they are made, Mr. Mike?
Sure. So can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Right. So I think this is more about like I will show you a few labels of products that are very, very common that we eat, right? So it's always good to understand the terminology that people say, that don't judge the book by its cover. When you walk into a bookstore, you just don't look at the cover of the book and buy it, but you also read the foreword, you read a few pages, and then decide whether you want this book or not, right? The same way in food, what happens is that majority of the large companies, they create a very nice artistic front of pack, right? So if you see, all of these photos are front of packs of cereal products, right? What happens on the front of pack is that companies make claims saying high sugar, or high protein, strengthens bones, gives you good hair, etc. But what happens on the back of pack, you read, for us, we need to read the back of pack to really understand what goes into the product, right? So for this example, I will show you that, look at these 8 packets. What is the most common thing that you see on these 8 packets? It is the fact that each of these packs have a cartoon character on it, right? And these cartoon characters are thoughtfully placed onto these packets so that when kids go along with their parents to the supermarket, the kids will get attracted to the cartoons and they will pester their parents to buy the product, right? And for the parents, these companies, um, just hold on. I will open the presentation on my end so that I can zoom in and all of that. So it'll be a
Sure,
little convenient.
sure, sure. Yes.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Right. So, hold on. So little, how do you zoom in? I don't think you can zoom in on screenshot or on a slideshow, can we? I
No,
usually
we.
use a PDF, that's why I could zoom in, but in this, okay. So let me just exit the screenshot, the slideshow, then probably, sorry, these are some technical. Yeah, okay, never mind. So we could have a look over here. On Chocos, you got Chota Bheem, which is a very popular cartoon character. And on the front of pack, it says with whole grain, it says Doodh ka solid dost. When you read these lines, what do you think? Okay, that it is made of good quality wheat. And by eating this, you're going to become as strong as Chota Bheem. Or the line which says Doodh ka solid dost, it means if what happens for parents is if kids are not drinking milk by themselves, if they don't like the taste of milk, they will give chocos along with it. And because chocos has a lot of sugar and a lot of cocoa in it, people will end up consuming that milk. So when you actually look at the ingredients, you will see that the majority, when it says whole grain on the front of pack, what do you expect? That all of the ingredient should be whole grain. It should not be maida, right? But over here, you will see out of 54% of the wheat, only 29% is whole wheat and 24% is still maida. So on the front of pack, this company claimed to use only whole grain, but they're actually using just a little more of the whole grain, but still there is a lot of maida in the product, right? And another way to understand how to read ingredient list is that the order in which the ingredients are mentioned is the order of basically it's the descending order of its quantity in the product. So in this case, wheat is 54%, second is sugar, third is corn flour, and so on and so forth. So the second most occurring ingredient in chocos is sugar, followed by corn flour. Correct? So I think majority of you got this right as well. That is nice. These are smart kids. Nice. So the same way, we can look at another example. This is an Amazon listing of another Chocos product. The same way you can see a monkey, a nice cartoon on the front, and then the same claim which says Doodh ka solid dose. But when you actually see the ingredient list and the nutritional label on the back, you will see that the company has given two different nutritional labels, right? So nutritional label for just the Chocos is mentioned in yellow, and the white one is for 30 gram serving with 200 ml of cow's milk, right? So 30 gram of chocos with 200 ml of cow's milk is the white side. When you actually look at the protein value, the there is only 2 grams or 2.5 grams of protein in the chocos itself, but there is 9.2 grams protein in the chocos plus milk combination, which means that 6.5 grams of all the protein that they are claiming is actually coming from the milk itself. There is not much in the chocos. Similarly, the fat content. The good fat is very important. The fat content in the chocos is only 0.9 grams, but they are endorsing that 9.9 grams of fat can come in with 200 ml of milk. So what is happening here, if you observe, that majority of the uh, good macronutrients are coming from the milk itself, but nothing is existing in the chocos. What is there in the chocos is sugar, it's wheat, it's maida, but the nutrition is really coming from the milk. So you could rather be drinking the milk and not wasting your money on chocos, right? So this is another way how companies claim to be healthy, but here the product in itself is not healthy. They are saying that you have to drink it or you have to eat it with 200 grams of cow's milk, which is wrong. The company just has to talk about what is the ingredient in itself and not say, okay, if mixed with 200 ml of milk, right? And even in the listing in Amazon, you can see it says Kellogg's Chocos Moons and Stars with whole grain source of fiber high in calcium and protein with 10 essential vitamins and minerals, right? So when you read all of this, you feel that, okay, it's a very, very nutritional product. You're going to get a lot of nutrition out of it. But when you actually look at the back of pack, which is the nutritional label, you will see actually there's not much of it. Everything is coming from the milk itself. So this is how you have to read the back of pack. You need to see the ingredient list. You have to see the nutritional label to understand. So the bottom line of cereals is, the claims that are made on the front pack seldom match what is mentioned on the back of pack. It is difficult to make nice funky shapes like stars and moons without maida, right? Because of the sugar that is there in the product, there is high possibility that you will get a sugar rush early in the morning. A sugar rush is basically, when you eat a lot of sugar and your body does not know how to digest that sugar, and you will feel restless. Sometimes people feel tired, and all of that. And countries like USA and the continent of Europe have banned using cartoon characters on cereal boxes, on cereals, due to rising diabetes and obesity issues, right? So even in India, diabetes and obesity is very, very common, but the Indian government has not banned the use of cartoons. The companies are still using cartoons to fool kids. And what to look for? Look for a high fiber cereal. See which cereal has high fiber in it. Add some protein into the bowl. So that could be peanut butter, that could be things, or even paneer or eggs, etc. So protein is very important for our nutrition. And keep a check on the added sugar. See how much sugar is there in the product. And check for the portion size. What is the portion size over here? You can see that typical value for 30 grams. That means the company Kellogg's is saying that you should be eating only 30 grams of chocos in one sitting. That is a serving size. Usually, we as consumers don't know how much to consume. When you're given a packet of Oreo biscuits, right? There could be a possibility that you can eat the whole packet if you're hungry. But, that's not healthy. So you can see the back of pack and identify the serving size. It will definitely be mentioned that the company is only recommending that you should be consuming two biscuits or three biscuits in a single serve. I think that's quite clear. Are we taking questions in between, or shall I continue and take questions at the end? Because
Yes, Mr. Mang. So I'll be curating the questions, so you can continue. So
okay.
I'll be, as and when time permits, I'll curate the questions. Yeah.
Okay, sure. How many of you all like Bonvita? I think a lot of people or a lot of parents feed their kids Bonvita just because it makes milk tastier, and the kids will not create a fuss early in the morning when they have to drink milk. So when you see the front of pack of Bonvita, you will see that it says inner strength formula. It says that drinking Bonvita will give you strong bones, it'll give you strong muscles, it'll give you an active brain. Correct? But when you look at the back of pack, what is the second most common ingredient in Bonvita? 51% is barley or wheat, and second is sugar. Third is cocoa powder, and after that is all of these ingredients that you don't even understand, right? Liquid glucose or maltodextrin, emulsifiers. So what you have to understand is, looking at the nutritional value, you will understand that 37%, 37% of 100 grams is sugar itself. So 51 grams is wheat, 37% is sugar. 51 plus 37 is 88. And the rest of all of these ingredients is 12% itself. Now, how many of you all think that drinking that much sugar will give you strong bones or give you strong muscles or give you an active brain? Very, the sugar does not do anything great. Sugar is just going to give you energy while your body needs it. If you are going to consume more sugar than your body needs, the sugar is then going to be uh, deposited as fat in your body. It will not be burnt. And over time, you will see that there will be a buildup of fat around your abdomen, around your chest, around your thighs. And that is clearly when you're consuming more energy in the form of sugar than you're actually burning out. So the claims that Bonvita makes on the front of pack are totally a scam, and it's majority the sugar that makes you hooked onto the product. And Even me, till date, when I was a kid, I used to drink a lot of Bonvita. Till date, I want a taste of Bonvita in my milk. I do not like the taste of milk by itself. Always want the taste of Bonvita. And that is what sugar does to the brain. It goes and it switches on some switches. It does certain tuning to the brain where you tend to want more sugar, right? You tend to want to eat more of that product. So the same thing with fried products, the same thing with high sugar products, and that's why you'll see that one tub of ice cream is never enough. You want to eat another. One biscuit is never enough. You want to eat another. One packet of chips is never enough. You want to eat another, and that is a form of addiction. In adults, you will see people are addicted to smoking, but in kids there is a very high population which is actually very addicted to sugar and salt, and that these are the products that cause that. So we'll go to the next. So the bottom line of malt drinks, when I say it's the Milo, the Complan, the Bonvita, the Horlicks, the sugar in the drinks get kids hooked to their flavors so much so that they don't like the taste of milk as they grow up. Second, the mix of ingredients are not ideal for even the nutrition of the milk to get absorbed by the body. For example, we think milk is going to give us calcium, but if you're drinking sugar with your milk, our body cannot strip the calcium out of the milk, right? So the calcium from the milk is not going to get utilized by your body to give you strong bones if there is sugar in the milk. So Bonvita as a combination, when it says strong bones, it has sugar in it. It means the sugar is not going to let the calcium from the milk come out and reach your body itself. So these are a little advanced for you to understand, but I would say most nutrition of the malt drinks again comes from the milk alone. So drink your milk, make a milkshake with whole fruits, make a milkshake with peanut butter, banana, etc., and make it tastier like that. But don't use any of these malt drinks. It's summertime now. Majority of us, are playing a lot, and then you sweat a lot. You feel a lot of thirst, right? And everybody loves fruity. People think that okay, drinking fruity is like drinking fruit juice because it is so thick. I'm going to get a lot of mango into my body. But the reality is not the same. Per 100 ml of fruity, there is 13.5 grams of sugar. So, as an activity after this call, I would ask you to go home or just take the jar of sugar at home, take a weighing scale, and see how much is 13.5 grams. And each bottle of fruity is around 200 ml. You're going to get 27 grams of sugar in just one bottle, right? And when you actually see with your naked eyes that 27 grams is close to about 6 spoons, that is probably the total amount of sugar that you would use in making 8 cups of tea or 9 cups of tea, you will realize that there is so much sugar put into this product. And as a mandate, the World Health Organization, WHO, says that any person should eat only 25 grams of added sugar per day. That is a recommendation, correct? So a good example for you to understand is if I gave you pocket money of 25 rupees and you went to a supermarket, you would think a lot before you buy some things because you want high variety in 25 rupees. So you will buy 5 rupees worth of chips, 5 rupees worth of chocolate, 5 rupees worth of drinks, etc. But the same way, if I told you that your total budget to drink sugar in the whole day is only 25 grams, would you still drink the fruity? Where in just one glass of 200 ml, you're getting 27 grams, which means the complete budget of sugar for that day is completed. Would you still drink that fruity? No. You would want more variety. You would probably drink a little less of the fruity, little more of the chocolate, a little more of the biscuits, because you want to have variety while you're consuming 25 grams. So remember the fact that you should be consuming 25 grams of sugar and learn to calculate how much sugar the product contains. So per 100 ml, 13.5 grams. So if the bottle is 300 ml, then all you got to do is use unitary method, and 13.5 into 3, that is going to be around 30.5 grams, right? So 25 gram, that is one rule. Second rule is identify how much sugar each product contains. The same way with tan, the first ingredient in the product is sugar. And when they're actually advertising in the front of pack, they give you a large piece of orange, which means which makes you feel like, oh, there's a lot of orange in the product. It also says source of vitamins A, B, and C. But orange is actually just 0.8% of the total tank powder. And when you see added sugar is 93 grams in 100 grams. So better is for you to just make a lemonade at home, put sugar, squeeze a lemon into it, and you still have fresh lemon that you squeezed into it, and you can drink that lemonade. Tang is literally nothing but sugar. 93 grams out of 100 grams is sugar, right? But you're spending much more. So for the parents, I think this is much more eye-opening that 93% is sugar, but we are paying double or triple the cost of sugar itself to buy Tang. So what my advice to you people is that quitting and boycotting is not the key. Processed food is good. Not all processed food is bad, but you need to be conscious about what you're consuming. So learning how to identify good products from the bad products, learning how to read ingredient labels, learning how to understand a nutritional label, that will make you choose better products, right? So keep this in mind. Don't, like parents should never say their kids saying, okay, because Mayank told that processed food is bad, there's no processed food that comes home. I'm saying quitting is not the key. You need some enjoyment in life. You need the chocolate, you need the fruity, you need the chips, but you need to do all of that in moderation. So a little bit about the health effects of consuming too much processed food is first you'll have tummy troubles. Our stomach is more like a machine. A machine can only digest certain things in certain quantities. Now processed foods will have a lot of sugar, will have a lot of salt, will have a lot of fat, which makes the food tasty. Now this can make your stomach upset, right? So you will have tummy troubles. Second is an energy roller coaster. The same thing that I mentioned. Your body requires a little bit of energy, but if you eat this much sugar and your body requires only this much, then that excess sugar is just going to make you feel, it'll make you feel little dizzy at first and then probably make you feel tired after some time, right? So a lot of people, I've seen a lot of students, feel sleepy after their lunch break in class. That is because they've had a high carbohydrate meal, right? High carbohydrates or sugar is good to an extent, but more will make you feel tired. Third is you will have cavities and you will have tartar formation in your teeth because sugar is like great food for the bacteria in your mouth. Processed food will not give you enough nutrients. So you will tend to still feel hungry. You will want to eat more and more and more and more, and it'll make you feel fat. It'll make you fatter over time. So those are basic health effects that you would face when you're consuming too much processed food. So again, advice, just like with Lego, it's good to have a mix of different kind of foods to keep your body happy and healthy, right? You cannot make a very nice structure out of just one same piece of Lego block. You need different shapes, different sizes, and that's how you should build your meal. Yeah.
Right. I think those are some wonderful insights. I'm sure kids, after this session, whenever they are going to consume any processed food, they would look at the back of the pack and they will try to understand the ingredients. But I think that's one step closer to being conscious about your consumption and being wary of what you eat. That is truly inspiring. And even I would start doing it from today. Because this is something very interesting as well as useful for us. And some of the questions here, you have answered some of the questions, Mr. Mike. So, a few questions. One question from Sunanda. So the question was, how legitimate the uh, ingredient and nutrition list in the pack is? Like, is it real or fake?
So see, you have to trust a little bit of belief has to be there. It can be fake. I'm not saying that, at least the bigger companies, the bigger companies like Britannia, the Frito-Lays, all of the brands that usually kids buy from, all of these are larger brands and they will not lie. But smaller local brands may lie and they might give you faulty numbers. But my advice is you should, just at least believe the nutritional label and the ingredients list, because the government is going to have government has strict laws around that. So the companies are scared and they will not cheat.
Okay, okay, got it. And there's one question from Samrud and Suchet Rao about is jaggery better than sugar? And do companies use jaggery to prepare products?
Correct. So good question. I would say jaggery and sugar are no different, right? Sugar is just one step ahead from jaggery. So sugarcane is processed. First comes jaggery. After that, jaggery is processed further, and that becomes sugar. So yes, jaggery is a little better than sugar, but that does not mean that you can go out and eat as much jaggery as possible. So a good example is that for the eyes, the sugar and jaggery looks different, but our stomach does not have eyes. Our stomach looks at food just as nutritional value. So sugar and jaggery have the same nutritional value. They have the same amount of calories, right? So it will do the same thing to your body as sugar will, but it's a little less processed. So there is little less chemical processing that is done. A few of the micronutrients, like a few minerals, are intact. So jaggery also comes under the same 25-gram bracket, that anything with sugar or anything with added jaggery don't consume more than 25 grams of total.
Right. I think that answers it. I mean, when you talk about processed food, I always wondered, how do they stay fresh, or we can use it for a longer period of time. So, what makes these foods stay long, Mr. Mike? Can you share some insights on that?
Correct, sure. So,
Mm.
so I think majority of the kids over here have been to a biology lab, right? So, what happens with food is when you leave something out in the open, there will be microbial attack on the food, right? There'll be microbes in the air. There'll be microbes in the fingers of the person who packed the product. So these microbes will look for nutrients in that food, and that basically spoils the food. Now, in processed food, when people are using preservatives, these preservatives stop, or these preservatives poison the microbes and kill them so that the food does not go bad, right? So there are two types of spoilage that can happen to food, which does not happen in processed food. One is microbial damage. The microbial damage can be reduced in two ways. First is not letting the microbe come in at all. And second is, if there are microbes in the product, how do you kill them? So you use preservatives. These preservatives are chemicals in minute quantities that will starve the bad bacteria or the bad protozoa, etc., that are present in the food. The second way is by packing the food in a very hygienic condition. So there are a lot of fruit juices in the market that are packed in a hygienic condition, which have a shelf life of more than 4 months without the use of preservatives. This is because they have made sure there are no microbes that enter the bottle. And that's why they say that once you open the bottle, finish it in one time or finish it within 24 hours of opening. So these will be products that usually don't have any preservatives in it, right? So the second way of spoilage is chemical spoilage. Now, the chemical spoilage could be, for example, when you chop an apple and keep it out in the open, it turns brown, and then it overall becomes darker and darker. And that happens because of oxidation. There's oxygen present in the air. That air oxygen is going to, react with the nutrients present on the surface of the apple and make it darker, right? So these chemical spoilage can be reduced again by using different forms of packaging, right? For example, you see a packet of chips. Why is there air in it? What sort of air is there in the packet of chips? It is nitrogen, because oxygen tends to react with oil and make it taste bad. So what does the company do? It will remove all the oxygen that is present in the air and put nitrogen. And nitrogen is an inert gas. There's no reaction that can happen to nitrogen along with the packet. So that leaves the packet firstly dry from the inside and zero oxygen. Zero oxygen means no rancidity, and zero moisture means there won't be any loss in the crispness of the product. So there are two different ways in which food is processed. One is to reduce microbial spoilage, one is to reduce chemical spoilage.
Got it. And I think, that is a pretty interesting insight as well. I mean, coming to our main topic. So, since you are the founder of Good Gum, who is into chewing gums, I mean, we don't really learn or read about chewing gums. So, can you explain to kids about chewing gums? How are they made? And are there any benefits to chewing gum? And what are different types? As well as, in Shark Tank, the video, I got to know that you said the chewing gums are made of plastic. So can you also explain that so that, we can have some information on that?
Sure, sure, sure. Great. So, how many? I think everybody has chewed gum. Everybody, every parent, every kid has chewed gum once in their life. So, until now, until what we made, you had Orbit, you had Happydent, you had Boomer, Center Fresh, etc. These are all the chewing gums that exist in the market. Now, all of these chewing gums, what happens is when you spit it out, you will see that there are stains on the footpath, right? And these stains remain for hundreds of years. This is what regular plastic containing chewing gums do. And this is another famous wall somewhere in the US where people go stick their chewing gums, right? So if chewing gum was plant-based or if chewing gum was natural, all of this chewing gum that is stuck on the wall would have naturally biodegraded, correct? Biodegrading means microbes in the air, yeast in the air will act on this chewing gum and basically degrade it. Like how a banana peel, when you throw it on the road, it is not going to be there for hundreds of years, but it'll just disappear. It becomes food for the microbes. But when you look at this wall, you will see that this chewing gum that people have stuck even 40, 50 years ago is still intact, which means that all of these chewing gums are made of something called as polyvinyl acetate. Polyvinyl acetate is a plastic compound, right? So there are lots of different plastic compounds like polyethylene, polyethylene tetrafolate, there's polyvinyl acetate, etc. So what is used in the regular chewing gums is something called as PVA, and PVA is also the main ingredient of glue and tires. So just think of it as such that every time you chewed any of these gums, you were putting a piece of Fevicol or tire in your mouth because it's the same major ingredient, right? Moreover, chewing gums like Boomer and Center Fresh, the ones that you find at 1 rupee per chewing gum, have sugar in them. What does sugar do? Because you're going to chew the gum for 15 minutes in your mouth, you're keeping the oral environment is going to be sugary. That sugar is nothing but acid. Sugar is nothing but food for the bacteria. So there is a lot of bacteria in your mouth. This bacteria is going to feed on that sugar and excrete acid out. They'll eat the sugar and they'll poop acid out. And this acid will then make holes in your teeth. And that's why you see for people with milk teeth who do not brush teeth properly, who don't, use a good toothbrush or don't, brush properly and don't take good care of their teeth, you will see a lot of cavity formation. That is because that you are not firstly killing the bad bacteria in your mouth. Secondly, you're giving that bad bacteria a lot of good food in the form of maida and in the form of sugar so that they can have a party on that sugar and then secrete the acid which will cause cavities, right? But Orbit and Happydent, these chewing gums don't contain any sugar, but they contain other artificial colors, artificial flavors, and artificial sweeteners. So these are synthetic sweeteners which are 500 times sweeter than sugar. So, for example, 1 gram of aspartame, which is an artificial sweetener that you find in Orbit and Happydent, is equally sweet to 500 grams of sugar. And that is why you will see that a few of these chewing gums have a very long lasting taste uh, because of the high intensity of the sweetness that these sweeteners have. So, how are we different? The regular chewing gums on the right, they have a synthetic plastic gum base. They have artificial colors and flavors. They have artificial sweetness such as aspartame and sorbitol. Many a times when you buy a chewing gum, when you chew it, your tongue is remaining blue or remaining pink for a long time, right? That is because these chewing gums are using chemical colors, colors that are usually used to color clothes or dye clothes in the chewing gum, and that is bad for the body. On the left side is Gud Gum, which is our chewing gum. It is made with a special tree sap, which you can see here. This is how the sap is collected. These are trees in the Amazonian rainforest. There are tribal people that make cuts on the tree. The sap that flows out is what is collected, and this sap is what we use in our chewing gum as the base. Second, we don't use any artificial colors and flavors, but we use natural oils and fruit and vegetable extracts to color and flavor the gums. And third, we use plant-based sweeteners like xylitol and stevia. So on the right is regular chewing gums, which is completely synthetic from the base to the ingredients. And on the left is Good Gum, which is completely natural. And what happens with Good Gum is when you spit it out, it will disappear in the surroundings. It will biodegrade in the surroundings, just like fruit and vegetable peels. So you're preventing yourself from chewing plastic, and you're preventing, plastic being stuck onto the planet. Correct? And can you guess how much plastic is generated in the form of chewing gums every year? 250 Olympic sized swimming pools worth of plastic is used in the form of chewing gums every year. So, that is the enormous amount of plastic that we are generating just to make plastic chewing gums. And that's a very, very large number. And plastic is super bad because it cannot be recycled. Chewing gum plastic cannot be recycled at all. But chewing gums are great for your teeth. It gives you, fresh breath. It prevents, so because our chewing gums contain xylitol, what xylitol does is it kills all the bad bacteria. It only lets the good bacteria thrive in the mouth. Because there is no bad bacteria, the cavity formation will completely stop. So, chewing a chewing gum, a xylitol sweetened chewing gum after your meal is first going to pluck out any food particles that are stuck in the mouth, and second, it is going to kill all the bad bacteria. So it'll give good life to your teeth. Third, it is a focus friend. Basically, when you're studying, if you're chewing gum, you tend to focus more, and that's a real proven study. It is a snack substitute whenever you feel hungry or you want to feel like binging on some chips. You could enjoy a piece of chewing gum, and that will help you suppress your cravings and prevent you from eating nonsense things. And it is a great exercise for your jaw. So this is what our chewing gums are made with. This is what on the right side you will see regular chewing gums will be stuck around in our surroundings for hundreds or thousands of years. And because when people walk over it, when vehicles run over it, when there is rain, this plastic will fragment and become microplastics, such tiny particles of plastic that is not visible to the naked eye. It will enter our water table, and it will come in our water, in the drinking water that we drink. It will also be in the ambient air around us, and we will breathe it. So you can see a lot of studies recently which say that microplastics were found in the blood of human beings. Microplastics were found in the lungs of human beings. So there are multiple different ways how microplastics are entering our system. But by chewing a regular gum, you're putting a piece of plastic in your mouth, and basically inviting trouble or inviting danger.
Right. I think that is awesome, first of all, because we got to know a lot about chewing gums, how they are made, and how they are different, and how good gum is changing the way we look at chewing gums. That's wonderful news from you, Mr. Mayank. So, a few of the questions. So, Tanvi here and Suchet Rao asked, what happens if we swallow as chewing gum? That is the
When you
question.
swallow a chewing gum,
Uh,
first thing your moms would have told that it will stick inside your stomach for 7 years and it will not come out. That is not true. That is a myth. What happens is our body does not have the capability of digesting that plastic. So over time, it will come out of your poop, right? But sometimes in some weird cases, what can also happen is that it can block your intestine and prevent the free flow of food. And that is because the plastic chewing gum goes undigested through our stomach, which has acids. Those acids can't do anything to the chewing gum. It will go into the intestine. And because our intestine is very, very narrow, it can cause blockages. But it just does not stay in the stomach. It comes out over time.
Okay, got it, got it. And there's one question from Atish who has joined us in YouTube. He asked, no, what is the difference between fruit sugar and added sugar? So is there
Yeah.
something like that? Yeah.
Correct. So fruit sugar is something that is naturally occurring in a fruit. So everything, even rice, peanuts, banana, everything has a component of sugar. And that is naturally occurring. It has not been added into the fruit or something of that sort, right? So mango is sweet because it has sugar in it. That does not mean that somebody has injected sugar in it. Bananas are sweet because it has natural sugar. So fruit sugar is naturally occurring sugar. It is okay to consume fruit sugar because what happens is for you, when we eat a banana, you're eating the sugar in the banana along with the fiber of the banana. Fiber basically slows down the digestion of sugar, right? When you're drinking a juice or when you're drinking a Coca-Cola, it is just water along with sugar, right? All of that sugar enters our blood directly, and our blood does not know how to handle that sugar, and that's why you see that you feel like a energy rush. But when you're eating a banana or any mango or any of those fruits where natural sugar is there, the fiber is going to slowly release that sugar into the blood. So you're going to get as much sugar as your body requires over time, not excess at once. So that's the difference between fruit sugar and added sugar. Added sugar is something that is added in a refined format, like adding jaggery into tea, adding sugar into a cake, or adding sugar into a cookie. That is added sugar.
Right. And there are a few questions. I mean, a lot of people have asked this question. So question from Yanesh, Dev, Avian, etc. So they asked about, you mentioned about preservatives, right? So are they harmful to our body?
Correct. Good question. Great question.
Mm.
So it is important to understand why companies started using preservatives in the first place, right? For example, if you have to drink, if you want to taste something that is mango, uh, in December, it is impossible if preservatives were not used, right? Mangoes are in season only in between March and May. And for any mango flavored product to be available in the market, there have to be certain things that will prevent the mango from spoiling so that the company can still use that mango in its juice or in its cake even in December, right? So preservatives were started to use to solve certain problems where excess food was getting wasted or food was not being able to reach the dedicated customer by the time it would get spoiled. So preservatives were giving a little longer shelf life. It was giving the food a longer lifeline, right? Now, preservatives are okay to consume in certain quantities, correct? So when you're consuming products from larger brands, my first advice is as much as possible avoid preservative laden products. As much as possible, try to buy products that don't have preservatives. But if there are certain products that are not available without preservatives, you might as well buy something from a larger MNC, because larger MNCs are the ones who will not misuse preservatives. They will use it in the right proportions because the government is looking at it. So not all preservatives are bad, but it's a pro and con. It's just like sugar. Sugar is required for your body, but it's not in excess quantity also.
Right. So while we are at it, Mr. Mang, since you are an expert at food tech and food space, so how do you see this fast food? There are questions from kids here, like about French fries or burger, right? So, like in general, what is your opinion on them?
My opinion is again, like it is good up to an extent. I would never say that they are bad or they are great. There is the like 80% of what you eat should be healthy. If you're eating 80% healthy, you can afford to eat 20% bad, right? So out of out of 15 meals in out of not 15, 21 meals in a week, if you're eating 17 or 18 home cooked natural meals, you can afford to eat two or three processed or fast food meals like the burgers and the French fries. But again, look for companies or look for brands that don't use a lot of preservatives in them.
Okay, got it, got it. So these are some truly wonderful insights we had. On an ending note, Mr. Mayank, so what is your advice to kids? Like, what is your suggestion to them in general?
So I have two suggestions. First is, share knowledge with your friends. Like if how many ever people are watching today, if you have learned something, or if you've learned how to understand food labels, if you've learned something about chewing gums, you need to share good knowledge and information with the people around you, because that is how you will people around you will also remain healthy, right? And also the fact that what you choose to eat today is what you will grow up to be. If you're eating a lot of French fries and a lot of Coke and a lot of sugary ice creams, etc., you will grow up to be obese, you will grow up to be diabetic, right? But if you can decide now that I want to live a balanced life, that I will also eat healthy food, but I will also enjoy by eating or balancing junk food, you will grow up to be healthier, right? And when you grow up, it is very difficult to then being unhealthy to move towards being healthy. You have to go to the gym, you have to diet, you have to do all of those hard work. But if you can just make small changes in your lifestyle right now, you will grow up to be a healthy person. And these are certain ways how to identify. And second is whenever you grow up and choose a profession, uh, wherever you're working, just work with integrity and honesty, right? There are brands like PepsiCo. How many of you all know Sting, the energy drink, right? I absolutely hate that product for the fact that it has so much caffeine, it has so much sugar, and it is easily available to kids at the age of 10, right? And that much sugar and that much caffeine is very, very bad for kids of that age, right? But this company is making this product just to make profits, right? And when kids get very, very addicted to this product, they will become diabetic, they will become obese, right? So my point is whenever you're working in whatever company it could be a food company, it could be a tech company, only do things that are ethically right. Don't do things just to make money, but think about the larger picture. Is it harming somebody? Is it going to make somebody, is it just going to harm somebody in some way or not? So these are basic, laws of or rules of life that if you all follow, you will grow up to be great, successful individuals. Then, no academics would be able to help you as much as your ethics and values will.
Right. I think after this session, I'm sure a lot of us and kids, parents, teachers here who joined will also be conscious and wary of what they consume. And it is something that we got to know. And for a fact, this is something that we have to follow as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayank, for this truly wonderful insights. And on that note, children, last Plato Talk, we had a challenge for all of you to, make a small video of your learnings about EV tractors and post the video on any of the social media handles and tag Plato Labs. And we would be choosing a winner. So we have a winner for that session. It is Yalinian. So congrats, Yalinian, for being a winner for the last week's challenge. And you will be getting a certificate and a small gift from our side. So keep going and keep watching Plato Talks. And students have joined, parents and teachers. Do subscribe to our channel so that you get more interesting videos like this. And on that note, we also have a surprise challenge for today as well. And for today's challenge, it's going to be on food tech. So we want kids to take any 4 to 5 processed foods from your home, and you need to make a video where you are telling about their ingredients and what do you understand from them and what is their significance. So make a video of where you explain about 4 to 5 processed videos, and you have to upload this video on any of the social media network like Facebook, Instagram, etc., and tag Plato Labs. 2 winners will be selected and will be announced by the next Plato Talk. And you will also have a chance to win the Good Gum chewing pack plus a certificate from Plato Labs. I'm sure you kids would enjoy it, and you would also have a lot of fun doing it. So I repeat, so you have to make a short video describing about the ingredients and the significance of 4 to 5 processed foods, and tag Plato Labs with the video, and we'll be announcing a winner in the next Plato Talk. So on that note, we had a wonderful session, Mr. Mayank. So thanks for joining. Thanks for
Thank you so much,
giving us
Mang.
insights. Yeah. So we wish you all the very best. We need a lot of innovators like you in each and every space in India, so that we all can build a nation that is stronger and better for the future generation. So once again, thanks for joining, Mr. Mayank,
Thank
and
you.
helping us
And
with
good
this
luck
session.
to all the students. Bye bye.
Yeah. So, kids, I hope all of you enjoyed today's session. So, we'll be back with another Plato Talk in the coming weeks, where you get to know about a lot of more innovations in technology and understand about them from the industry leaders itself. So, on that note, it's bye bye from my side. So, do like the video and subscribe to our channel so that you get more insights about more such interesting topics. So, bye bye, kids. Bye, teachers, parents. Have a great day.